my friends, how are you today? Thank you so much for taking a minute to join me here on my channel. I'm glad to have you here. I would like to say if you are here and you have not yet subscribed and you would like to get updates on new videos, please subscribe and turn on the notifications. That way we can all stay connected. I always have somebody tell me randomly in my comments, you forget to tell people to ever subscribe. I'm like, okay, there, I got it out in one random video. But we're talking about some new makeup today. Some of it is going to be my first go around with it, just with you here, so probably there will be some follow-ups. And then there are some things that I have worked with a little bit, so we'll get there when we get there. For starters, I just realized I might want a little more Vani cream on my eye area today. I've already got my skincare on as a whole, but I do still like to have this, and not just on the under eye area, but the areas where I had dealt with eczema, I really like to make sure those spots stay hydrated under my makeup. So just going over that. So just the other day, I got a package from Catrice. I feel like I hardly ever get anything from Catrice. They're a little bit off my radar because they're not at Ulta, but you can still find Catrice on like Amazon and their own website. But they have a couple of new complexion products that they sent, and I'm super excited to try them out. One is this Soft Glam Filter Fluid. I think we all know what this is trying to be, like Hollywood Flawless Filter, e.l.f. Halo Glow. This says Glow Booster. I have the color 020 Light Medium. So let's just crack this puppy open and see what this is like. I think this is going to act kind of like a glowy primer for me, but I'm going to just streak it around and see how she does. And my friends, we have had one roller coaster week around here. I know I get on here talking about my dad a lot because, you know, that's kind of a front burner issue in my life. His health, he's fought cancer. He's gone through 6 chemo treatments. He finished his 6th chemo treatment. He soon after had a PET scan. PET scan said, you're cancer free, like there are no signs of leftover cancer or recurring cancer. So we were just absolutely thrilled to hear that news. That was just like the thing we were hoping to hear. We had like a preliminary PET scan earlier in the process and it was showing that things were doing well, but you know, to finish it up and to hear that was just awesome. But that being said, chemo takes a toll on the body, and not long after getting that news, we learned that, oh, Dad kind of has a fever going. And fever is not a good thing for a chemo patient to have. If it hits a certain point, if it hits like 102 something, you gotta go to the ER. Like it's just, you just have to. You don't just kind of sit around and wait and see. Throughout his chemo treatments, he had hit some, I guess you call them low-grade fevers that didn't get to the point where he had to go to the ER, but his temperature would just raise up at this period that's like 7 days after a treatment. Your body's really feeling it. You know, the chemo is in there and it's having its biggest like side effects on those days. So his temperature did rise up. He has to go to the hospital. He's at a time when white blood cells are very low. As anyone who's dealt with this before knows, after a chemo treatment, your white blood cells go very low. Also, his red blood cells are low. He's dealt with lymphoma, and that's a kind of cancer that definitely affects your red blood cells a lot. So he's, you know, getting ready to be in this mode where he doesn't have to keep going back for chemos and his body can just recover. But we're in the valley, you know, post-chemo, feeling not good. And you get into the hospital, actually see some numbers, and basically all the blood's just really low. And as he's been there, I know the white blood cells have started to improve. He's had a transfusion of blood. From what I heard secondhand early this morning, he's already feeling better from that. But yeah, it's just, it's a tough road. And the chemo he's had, I don't know if any of you have heard the term red devil chemo, it's major. And I think the effects have been maybe a little bit cumulative, like feeling it worse now than maybe he did after round 1 or 2. But Dad is tough. We are still feeling incredibly grateful for the news of being cancer-free. We've just got to help the body rebound after going through all of the stress of these chemos. And I'm just praying that he checks out well enough that he can, you know, get home and just get back to a normal lifestyle after all this. But the good news as I sit here is, like I said, the white blood cells are going back to where they want to see them be, and the red blood cells are approaching the level they need them to be as well. So we're glad to see that. And we've got this new filter thing on, which is very soft looking in terms of the glow, but I can see it, you know, I can see the glow. The level of moisture is light with this stuff called Soft Glam Filter. I feel like I put on about the amount I would have used of the Charlotte Tilbury or the e.l.f., but I feel like it's perhaps less glowy than both of those, for sure less glowy than the e.l.f. So there's that, and then we have this Nude Drop Tinted Serum Foundation. It's got hyaluronic acid and vitamin E, and we know Catrice has something packaged like this that was their matte fluid foundation. I'm blanking on the exact name of it. That stuff felt like a full coverage water weight type of foundation. This they're calling tinted serum. Everything's a serum these days. So this is the shade 036C for me. The dropper really works. It's really dropping from it. I don't want too much on because that's a pretty big glob right there. We're working in globs. Oh, I tell ya. And I'm sorry, I don't like to open up the video with like, and we're dealing with this and we're dealing with that, but it's just the reality right now. You know, I get on here and I don't try to fake it, you know. I'm gonna tell you what I'm dealing with, so that's what I'm dealing with. I feel like I'm just walking around in a constant state of prayer and a continual conversation with God. This stuff looks really pretty. Okay, I can just tell by the look of my skin that probably what I put on was a little more than necessary, but it does have a really pretty look to it. And partially that might be pairing with the glowy primer, but it's more coverage than I expected to see out of something with that name, Nude Drop Tinted Serum. But Catrice does some really beautiful complexion stuff, so I'm not surprised this looks good, but that tone as well seems super on point for me. I'm kind of dabbing over it, going over it a little more, feeling like I'm pressing it into the skin just because I want to pick up any excess and I don't want it to end up throughout the day like collecting and looking like too much in any one spot, but I think that's absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's not full coverage, but it actually looks like a very strong medium coverage. It claims light to medium coverage. For the amount I put on, it's for sure medium coverage, maybe even knocking on the door of full, which I'm not quick to say that. Flexible on the skin for a long-lasting skin-like result, smooths and blurs imperfections, dermatologically approved for sensitive skin, shake well. I am totally enjoying the look of that. I like the subtle nature of this as well. So far so good on that. I think Catrice has a couple of really good complexion things out now. And it's kind of making me want to get back into that other foundation they had that was like this, just even more matte. That was really good. Concealer wise, I don't have anything like brand spanking new, but one of my newer ones here that I have used in another video is the L'Oreal True Match. It's their Radiant Serum Concealer. Like I said, everything's a serum. Serum is the new buzzword, it feels like, and this is in light C1. So I'm gonna just dab a little bit of this on. It is a really lightweight concealer. It did a decent job for me before. I'm just gonna go around my concealer zones, even though around the nose, it literally doesn't even look like I need concealer there. I just like dabbed around there by default, but that was well covered by the foundation. I'm just gonna dab that in, get around the nostrils, get up in here. Tone is good for me on this. I'm gonna try to thin it out some. Sorry, am I in focus? Camera? Hello? Sorry about any focusing issues. Sometimes the camera forgets who the main character is. Is it the garland? Is it the lamp? Okay, so spreading a little and then just a little dab in. To me, this feels like kind of a middle of the road concealer. It does good work. It is light. It is not as full coverage as a Shape Tape for me, but it still manages to do well and wear well. And of course, it's after you put your concealer on that you realize you got something in the corner of your eye. So far, after about a week, not quite a week, on my skincare routine, I'm really loving it. My stuff from Aven. I feel like an update will be coming soon. I honestly, in some ways, I feel like my skin has never been better. I'm kind of surprised. Now, I do want to set this a little bit. Just a little setting on the under eye area. I'm going to use some Kosas Cloud Set. I've been really digging this lately. I always like it as kind of a finishing touch, but just going straight in to like set the under eye with a brush, it's been very nice. And I'm just using this little brush from Profusion. This comes in a set with a buffing brush and a slightly smaller brush that's good for like highlighter. You can get it at Walmart. I always link to it below when I'm using one of these. Okay, I'd say we're looking really good right now on the complexion, and this is something I purchased from Ulta. Everything's a liquid. Everything is trying to be a serum, but this is the Butter Glow Bronzing Serum from Physicians Formula. And yeah, I wanted to try this. I wonder how liquidy it's gonna be. I wonder how dark it's gonna be. I have not yet used it, so first go around here. Okay. Is it really? Okay, the dropper is working. That was kind of a lot. Let's just take from that dot and really dab around. It feels like it's odd to feel that amount of wateriness on your skin on top of foundation, but nothing blends in easier than that type of texture. Look at that. We've got a little bit of soft contour. I can see it. I'm not even squeezing like a bunch out. I'm just literally dabbing dots from the dropper because I feel like that's enough. Dab, dab, dab. I've got a little fear that this will break down what's underneath. You know what I'm saying? Like the color tone is great, but putting that amount of liquid, straight liquid on top of, because that's really what it feels like. It's watery. It's not maybe quite as runny as water, but it's very, very liquidy. I feel like it added some glow to the complexion. I don't think it actually broke down the foundation, but it is adding some glow to the skin. I'm not loving how every time I pull the dropper out, it kind of gets watery around the top. I don't want this thing to turn into a big mess down the road, but like I've just wiped some off of there, so now it's coming off my finger. Just the residual product around the opening. See, that wasn't a lot that I just put on there, but I am seeing it. Does it smell? Yes, it does smell. Definitely. The way all butter bronzer products do. I feel like it honestly doesn't take a lot of this, at least for my skin tone, to give me an effect. This tone is called Sunkissed Glow. I think this was the only one available. And again, I got it through Ulta's website. But yeah, we're in the era of droppers and everything being like a serum, so that's that. It definitely gave the skin a glow. You can see it even just where I barely blended up in that area, and it gave us glow. And now I have another type of product, which I've seen a lot of people asking me questions about these, the Smashbox Halo Sculpt and Glow Face Palette. I went for the pinky toned one. It's called Pink Saturation. Packaging is super cute, kind of chunky little palette here. I like it. But as far as the product on the inside, I am very so-so on this. I have been using this for probably a little over a week now, and I want a little more color intensity out of this. And I know if I would have gone for another color tone, I might have gotten a deeper contour shade. I thought I'd really like it because I love like the Cali Contour palette that Smashbox put out. You know, that one had, I think, a couple of bronzers and some blushes, highlighter. It was just a really good face palette. But I'm feeling like this shade, and it's going to be a little tough to tell because I already have some contour on, but this is very, very soft. Can I see it on my skin when used alone? Yes, but I just find myself wanting a little bit more out of it. And I'm just not like gaga over the way those blushes kind of look together. They feel kind of random together. This earthy one and then the more hot pink. I just feel like I would have been better served by buying another tone. I'm not sure why I went this direction, but I did. Maybe because I feel like I'm always grabbing for the deeper blushes, so I just thought, I'll go for the lighter option. Okay, contour is on. I guess the takeaway here is you can see that it didn't do too much more than this. Like, it's very soft and light. Then I'll take this more earthy blush. I think these blushes are overall matte. That one going on. It's not that I don't like it, it's just I'm not in love. So I'm patting that, and we can see a pretty pinkiness coming through. Soft pink. I just threw my blush brush. Maybe I haven't used and put enough of this shade on. I do like this color. This is M having trouble not liking a blush. That's pretty. Okay, that is pretty. And then we're gonna pop the pink. I think I've used mostly this and then like tried afterward to work some of that in, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me, but maybe it makes more sense to do it this way. A little pop of this cooler pink. I want that to be a bit more appley. See it? See the difference? It's on this cheek, not this cheek. Got a sore throat a couple nights ago, so there's that. I tell you, I think coaching cheerleading is bringing me into one of these phases of life where my immunity is getting like really pushed on. You know what I mean? I feel like people who are new teachers probably go through a phase where it's like, wow, I really, got sick a lot because that was my first time being around so many kids and going through that whole experience. And I feel like with coaching, that's kind of me right now. I'm around my own kids a lot, but now I'm around a lot of kids a lot. This glowiness right out here, gonna pick some of that up. It's fine, but it's not one of those highlighters where, oh, I can just barely see it. Like, I feel like I see the flecks on my skin until I really make a good effort to buff it out. This palette's just kind of ranking in an average place for me overall. If that bronzer could have been deeper, I'd like it even more. But I just feel like maybe if I tried a different tone, I could potentially really love something like this. Because I like when all the steps are included like that. I think this may have been the first time I ever went to this one first and then that one. And I think that's the best I've ever gotten out of this. So thank you all for bringing the best out in it, huh? For brows, I actually got a little PR package from Benefit. And they've put out a couple of new products in the Precisely My Brow Pencil family. So this is the classic thing that they had come out with before. I wear the shade 4. It's their skinny brow pencil. It has a spoolie on one end, the skinny pencil on the other. Now they have Precisely My Brow Detailer, like an even finer tipped approach. And then they've got a Precisely My Brow Wax. We're looking at like a smaller brush. It's almost like they redid Gimme Brow. This has a tint to it too. I wasn't expecting the tint. Okay, I'm shade 4 in all of this stuff, so we're gonna try that. What I think I'm gonna do first is use the Precisely My Brow pencil, just the classic, and do a little filling in with that, just for the bulk of my brows, and then we'll pull in this other one, maybe around this inner part. Shade 4 is a pretty good shade for me. Yeah, that's a nicely textured pencil too, as far as these go. It lays down the color fairly quickly, but it doesn't feel too soft. Okay, that's as far as I'm gonna go with that on that side. I'll do it over here too. Okay, and then I'll also use the spoolie for both sides just to make sure that's kind of evenly in there. That's the classic brow pencil that's really nothing new. This other one also has a spoolie, and oh my gosh, wow, the tip is tiny. It's got like a little plastic sub cap hugging it. It's so small, like for extra support. In terms of the strokes are just literally hair-like, just as fine as hair. So that's kind of neat. Wow, that's pretty cool. I would say for a person who is really trying to recreate a realistic looking brow and they wanted to do so with a pencil, not have to use a pen, which, you know, sometimes those don't always look so natural. Like that looks like I did little hairs. I don't know how well you can tell on camera, but it's just looking like more hairs right in here. Literally as fine as hair. That is cool. That's pretty darn innovative, Benefit. Wow, okay. And then you can use your little spoolie again, just the same way you did before. But it's just such a fine amount of product. That's cool. Now the Precisely My Brow Wax. So the brush has like a little hump on it. It's like a little whale shaped brush. Is that kind of trying to be like Brow Fast Sculpt a little bit? Possibly, yeah. You've got shorter bristles that are holding some more product, and then you've got some longer bristles. They're just domed like a whale. I bet a whale was the last thing they wanted this little brush compared to, but it's small, but it is whale shaped. It's reasons like this that M never gets plucked for a brand campaign. I'm just kidding. I'm not about that life, so that's fine. Okay, yeah, I turn the brush over. More product comes off of that side. The other side is more like sparse amount of product applied and more like comby. I'm very pleased with those brows, but this is like Brow Fast Sculpt. I see what you did there, Benefit, on that. I know I had mentioned in a past video that I'd gotten my hands on one of the new larger Essence palettes. I chose the one called Shake It Up. It's the Iced Caramel Latte palette. Looks like this on the outside, and it's very warm on the inside. It does have, well, really kind of a range of neutrals, but a lot of warm potential with those kind of orangey colors, bronzy colors. There are a couple of shades in here labeled Cake Eyeliner. It's actually that one, which I find odd, and that one. But I've used both of those as eyeshadows, not as cake liners, and they've been all right. The palette itself, I thought, has been very impressive. I've used it several times, done several different eye looks, and thought, wow, the pigment here feels really consistent, you know? I was pleased with it. They do have another larger palette. The colors in it just seemed a little haphazard to me, like just, not saying somebody else wouldn't absolutely love it, but as I looked at them, I just thought, I'll get more use out of this one, because I like some warm browns, actually. So we did our Milani eyeshadow primer. This is all right, it's 6 times 4 is 24. I can do the math. I'm gonna go over here. I feel like this little peachy guy kind of peachy beige. That'll start us off. We're just using Profusion Crease Brush. And hopefully I can demonstrate to you how these shades are really, really nice. I've had sort of hit and miss experiences with different Essence eyeshadows. A lot of things have been decent, but you know, it hasn't been like home run status the way, let's say, the Wet n Wild Color Icon stuff has been for me. But this palette, very consistent. For as big as it is, for as much as they put in here, I feel like I have very consistent, very good experiences. So that's that shade all sheared out, this one right here. I want to work out from that a little bit. Well, actually, I'm just going to take this buttery matte right there in the corner. Yeah, that's a really good smooth out the edges kind of shade. There's no mirror in here, it just says get your perfect blend. Remember when the latte makeup was hot? I wonder if this started getting developed like during that craze. I want to show you it close up because I haven't really pointed out yet all the mattes and all the shimmers. There are varying textures in here, varying intensities of shimmer. For example, we've got shades like this that are popping just a little bit of sparkle kind of embedded in a matte. We've got some ultra metallic looking things happening. We've got softer shimmer as well. Of course, some very classic mattes sprinkled all throughout. Out of the 24 shades, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pure mattes, plus one that honestly looks matte in application, but has a little sparkle. I want to see some of this color right here, this pretty terracotta. I haven't used a lot of this shade, but I feel like that would be a good like crease intensifier at this point. Really warms things up. But like, look at that pigment. I'm impressed, Essence, because I'm not scrubbing into the product. I am literally dabbing in the way I would dab into Too Faced or Natasha Denona or anything. Giving it the same kind of treatment. And she's showing up right away. I feel like that shade could go for days. Like it could just sheer out, keep going, keep blending out. Nice. I'm gonna go down to this shade called Cake Eyeliner. It's not really called Cake Eyeliner, it's labeled that way. It's a dark brown, dark cool brown. Possibly could spot a smidge of plum in this, but not sure. But see how it just, it's very what you see is what you get. We're just putting that in that outer corner. I'm making sure that the tip of my brush is going all the way to my crease. And we will blend that out in a minute, but this is the application mode. I like that they included, for all the fiery warmth that's in here, a really nice cool dark brown. That makes you feel like if you're looking out toward the horizon, you know, you're looking out at the sunset and all the trees, all the earth looks cool and dark, but that sunset sky looks fiery and warm. It's exactly what this is mimicking to me. It's like, yeah, when the sun sets, the entire landscape does not appear to be on fire. The landscape looks like a silhouette practically, you know, against that sun. And it's cool and it's dark, and that's what that makes me think of. Taking this small pointed brush, and I'm just gonna go into a shade that feels a little bit softer than that. So I'm gonna go up to this one. These mattes. Essence did a phenomenal job on the mattes in here. And I'm taking that directly into my crease, and I'm just using that as a little crease softening thing. And look at the way this depth is just running right into the warmth, and it's looking so meant to be that way, you know? Ugh, love. Get a little bit more, we're going right on the tip of the brush because that's the part of the brush that's really being needed in this application. It feels to me like a circular motion going right into the crease and building up. If I could have like M's starter kit, like M's school supply list for her channel for following my tutorials, that might be an interesting video, but one of the tools would be this brush for sure. And you can get it in a set that also includes the crease brush from Profusion. I always link to it, so check the info box. All I can say is like, wow, inexpensive eyeshadow, just slaying it. You probably want to see some shimmer at some point today, huh? I could do the mattes all day, every day, but we probably should pop in some shimmer. It's a lot of mid-tone to light shimmer, although there is this shade down here. I don't think I'm going to use it today, but look at that. That rich brownish with a little bit of burgundy shimmer. Really pretty. I'm gonna go to this shade right up here. It's like a soft gold. And it's just a smaller flat brush that I'm using. And we're swiping it on. It's pigmented, it shows the sparkle in it. It's wanting to be just a tidbit flaky, but we're pressing it in. We're trying to give it no option by really pressing it on with that brush. I feel like I'm most impressed by the mattes in here because I could just feel that shade hitting my cheek. But some pressure, a little swipe, that's how you control the shimmer. And we also have down here a really cool, I was gonna say taupe. It looks like taupe to glance at the palette when it's not in full light, but it's actually like silver. But you should also know that there are some smoother shimmers. This one of the most loud, you know, but this one, very smooth and soft. This one, very smooth. Very smooth on that one as well. So not all the shimmer textures you're gonna deal with in here are gonna be identical, but I went for one of the ones that I thought was, I hesitate to use the word troublesome, but you know, one of the riskier shimmers, and you just got to give it a little pressure and a little pat. But to be honest with you, there are high-end brands that would play me the same way on a shade like that, so I'm not like shocked or anything. I would like to sort of stay with this palette for a moment and just go into any random sort of deep brown. We'll use this one right here and keep this pretty diffused smokiness going on the lower lash line. All I did was got a little bit on my brush. The first place I put my brush is where the most product's gonna go, so right out here, and then we just let it ease on in with whatever's left. And that's your easy lower lash line. Boom. Tip of the brush into the product, tap off any excess, start where you want the most product to be. So we're going right out here. I'm making it kind of touch in with that outer corner of things. And then just ease it on in until there's nothing left. Easy, easy. This brush is such a good shape and size. It's not too oversized. It's going to control your product and not like drop down and give you a raccoon effect, although raccoons are really cute. But it's big enough to make the color seem so softened out. So we love that. Then what I would do after doing any kind of powder, I would immediately go to Kosas Cloud Set or something like it. Something like it from the drugstore would be Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. If you like the shade Airy, then get the shade Porcelain from Fit Me Matte and Poreless. Take a small brush. I just reserve this chunky eyeshadow brush that always felt too chunky for my eyes, and I just use that directly up under with a tiny amount of powder. And it's like preventative oil absorption going on there. We could do eyeliner. I don't know if I really feel like it because I'm sensing how pretty the lashes would look if they just popped up here. I've been using a lot of e.l.f. lash extender lately, so I think I'm going to use something else. I'm going to go to my Neutrogena Healthy Lengths. This one's been creeping in, slowly creeping in as something I'm loving. Makes the lashes look so, I don't know, fluttery and not clumped together. Just really nice look. And it doesn't irritate my eyes either, so that's always a plus. So I just take it, it's a real like L'Oreal voluminous classic looking type of brush, and I just wiggle it up through the lashes. Who goes there? Happy Friday, Biddy.
Happy Mommy, Biddy.
How'd you sleep?
Good.
Love you.
Love you too.
See you later. They get popcorn at school today. She's really excited about it. I would be too. I absolutely love popcorn. Popcorn is one of my favorite snacks. And I'm really trying to embrace popcorn these days because like I feel like it's better than chips. And I pop it myself. Like I have a little Dash air popper thing. I got it on Amazon. Works great. And then you have control over like what you're adding to it, the amount of salt. I don't add a ton, you know. I use this popcorn butter spray stuff that's supposed to be okay for you. It's good. My blend, my seasoning blend that I've settled on that's really good on your popcorn, but it's part popcorn butter salt mixed with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of Tony's seasoning. And everybody around here thinks that's so good. Don't go too hard on the Tony's, especially for the children, but it adds a little something extra. And the little bit of sugar gives it a slight kettle corn vibe. We're not talking a lot of sugar, just a little bit. You could also use some stevia. That's probably what I should start doing with my newfound trying not to eat a lot of sugar concept in my life. So I'm just kind of building one eye to the next, not really paying a lot of attention to what I'm doing, but I love the look of this mascara. It's just kind of light and fluffy, but it's enough, you know? It makes me feel like I've really done something with them. And how pretty is the blend of that eyeshadow? That was not like any masterful technique or work on my part. That was just shadows that want to blend easily together. What was that noise? I'm just going to pop a little bit of mascara on the lower lashes. Yes, I could use my new e.l.f. as well. I just don't want to burn through that too fast. I still have my Cali Ray, so she works fine down here too. Just a little lower lash action. And then finally on the lips, I have this from Revolution. This also came from Ulta. It's called Pout Tint. This is the shade Sizzlin' Red, and it's in a chunky little tube. And we're going to try this out. What does this look like? It feels really thin. Mid-application and had to unload my memory card. Really thin. Ooh, I just blotted it to my upper lip. Okay. While it has a thinness, it does feel like it's kind of hanging together, you know? It's not looking streaky. Although the place where I initially put my applicator, kind of a lot of product there. We're seeing shine. We're seeing what's amounting to like a soft red. I think what we all want to know is, what does that look like if it's blotted? Are we getting kind of a staining thing? Ooh. I like that. Sort of a more saturated take on Benetint, you know? See what that's giving? All right, for right now, we're going to go ahead and have a little more shine, but I just wanted you to see. I think it's doing some staining. But I like that red tone a lot. It's like it's not too crazy and loud, but it's definitely giving us red. So that is my look today, friends. I feel like we had a ton of makeup wins in this video. I was very impressed. My first go round with the new Catrice stuff, and I thought this made the skin look so very good. My take on this Soft Glam filter here is that it's the softest shimmer take on a product like this that I've tried so far, I believe. The Charlotte Tilbury, the e.l.f., definitely like Lumi Glotions and stuff like that seem to give off more shimmer on the skin, and this was very soft and subtle. And this was absolutely beautiful, and it kind of shocked me that I feel like it was practically undersold in terms of the coverage level. That coverage was very, very strong medium on my skin, and leaving me to feel like in certain areas I really didn't need all the concealer that I'm used to applying. So that concealer was not super new. This Butter Glow, pretty, does add glow. Definitely did add a glowiness to the skin. Thin, I would say watch your application. We don't want to put too much on at once. This product, like I said, I'm not jumping up and down over my shade choice here, but I think I got the best out of it today, actually. This, again, the shade is Pink Saturation that I had in that Smashbox palette. Let me know if there's another shade that you've tried in these palettes. I think there's like 4. Let me know if there's another one that you really love. Quite impressed by the Benefit stuff. I think the gel is essentially like Maybelline Brow Fast Sculpt, but that skinniest pencil was very, very good and truly created hair-like strokes. And the Essence Shake It Up palette, very good. If you like a warm brown look, I mean, there's a lot of warmth in this one, but the pigment, the consistent quality throughout that palette is very, very impressive. So thank you all so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a good time shooting it. I needed to shoot this video today just for my soul and my mental health. So thank you so much, everyone, and I will talk to you again very soon. I love you. Bye.